Yeah, I read the article about the electronic signatures and actually having to take that to court to get that. Like, really? Yeah.
They're going to be hearing us now.
On hit.
That water pipe you had was really neat, nice. That one with the blue looked like ice on it or something. Is that the one you said they were sold out? You know that was? Did they have a name brand, or was that just like a random one you bought online? That's how mine was too. Does it show on my screen too, or no? Because I have a chat box open, and I could help introduce. Let them know, hey, you're here. Okay. It just has me, you, and the tone icon.
my mic was off, so you probably just didn't hear me. But now, hello, uh, everybody didn't hear me. You should be able to hear me now on Facebook and YouTube. We were just having some technical issues here, trying to make sure that we would be able to get everybody to be able to hear me and be able to see the information that we're trying to present here. So, like I said, for those that didn't hear me, I'm here with Michael. He's one of our first people to join. If you want to join the Zoom and get in here, you need to go to your Zoom app and dial the number on the top of my screen here, and the password is 420. Michael's helping me monitor the waiting room. I know one person was in there. Um, is this the chat I'm seeing? Let me see. Can you hear me? Oh, that was you? Okay.
Yeah, that was me.
All right. So we are.
That was when you had your headset off,
Okay.
and I thought there was a mic problem, but it was your volume's coming through your headset. So now I know.
Hello. We got somebody's iPhone coming in there. It says connecting. Right. So hello. Can you hear us?
Your headset off, okay. And I thought there was a mic problem, but it was your volume's coming through your headset. So now I know.
Okay. Hello. Hi. Nice as we got you in here. Can you hear us? Okay.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes.
Awesome. That's what I wanted to know.
Yes.
Okay. Good. So we are now live on Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom. And so we're running a few minutes behind, but I'm gonna go ahead and start getting started. The first thing that I want to go over with everybody. Everybody's watching. Hi, everybody. For those who don't know, my name's Anthony Rowley. People call me the Mastermind. And I'm the founder of Ohio Cannabis Live. And the purpose of this meeting is to cover the new rules and changes that are happening with the Ohio Medical Marijuana Program. In this group, people that want to speak, you can speak 3 different ways. That would be in Zoom. We have a few of us here in Zoom. Or it could be in Facebook or YouTube. Now, what's supposed to happen is on the left-hand side for people that are watching this on Facebook and YouTube. My Zoom people cannot see this screen yet. There is a comment section up there that you will be able to comment. So your comments will show up there. There may be a delay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set my phone up and I'm going to be on the Ohio Cannabis Live page on Facebook, and I will be watching to see if someone makes a comment there. That way you won't be left out of the discussion. So hold on a second. Let me just get my phone right to the right spot. And if I don't answer right away, just give me a second. I mean, I'm looking at 5 screens right now. Okay. I see we have 5 people watching here on Facebook. So hello. We also have closed captioning. So if you are hearing impaired or just don't want to hear my voice, we do also have closed captioning available in Facebook Live, which I think is awesome. All right. So like I said, the first thing we're going to touch base on is the change to the 90-day limits into the registry or whatever. So a lot of people have heard about this change, but are still somewhat confused. So what happened was we all started out in this program last year, and everybody had to log into the patient registry to be able to access their 90-day limits. And what happened? What ended up happening is the pharmacy board realized that system was not calculating our days correctly. So constantly we were emailing the pharmacy board. The dispensary was trying to keep up with it. No one could get it to work properly. So we ran into a lot of trouble with it. So what we ended up doing was, well, not we, them. They ended up changing. With me here moving this around, they end up changing it to a 45-day system, and it's still 90 days, so they didn't make the 90 days go away. It's just instead they split the 90 days up into 2 45-day increments. So what that means is that every 45 days in the refill period you already have, there's going to be a break, and then when that 45 days ends, a new 45 days begins. And when that happens, your days reset. So before, we had this rolling 90 days, which means that you had to buy something and then wait 90 days for that one purchase to come off. And that was very, very challenging for many of us. Me personally, it was very challenging to wait 90 days for a 2.8 purchase to fall off, or an ounce purchase, or half ounce, or whatever. So what the pharmacy board decided to do was they decided to go ahead and change that. And so hang on for me just 1 second. I'm going to pull up the calculator so we can all look at it. And that way we can kind of go over it together and people can understand a little bit more. So I just need to pull up an email that someone sent to me here. And that way you guys can see the calculator. And we're going to I'm going to use uh, my own account per se as an example so that you guys can see exactly how the calculator works. And then, this, you still will have to contact the dispensary to get your current total. But once you get your current total, this will make it a lot easier because once you know what your total is, when your refill period start and begin, you will be able to mark on your calendar on May 27th. My days start over. For me, my days started over today, so I was able to actually start over today, and that's how I was able to be able to buy something. But if I was still dealing with the old system, it would not work. And I am going to provide you guys again after the meeting the link to a new calculator they made. It's supposed to work on the other device. So bear with me a second while I'm trying to get to this. I should have had this ready, but we had to do a last minute change as far as I'm trying to let them know that the calculator. Okay, here we go. I got it. I found the email. So, it's just like he sent me the link to the email, and then, I just want to let you guys know that Grant Miller is no longer with the pharmacy board. So, I don't know who.
Wasn't that was a patient, right? He was a medical card carrier, correct?
No, sir. He actually just was a pharmacy board employee.
Okay.
And so no, he is one of the people that was helping us all. So I'm going to bring this up now, and this should be visible to everyone that's watching.
Because we had a card carrying member at one time, didn't we? And didn't they get rid of him?
That I'm not quite sure of. I can't say I remember that. I just know that.
If I find the article, would you like me to send it to you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so what you're seeing now on your screen is this was changed on April 17th. That's when the new program started. And like I said, this link will be available to everybody after the meeting, and it's already available. You can see in the title what the website address is, but if you're having trouble pulling up, but all that doesn't matter. The most important part on this whole page here is the resources section. And so you have this instructional resolution and guidance. We're not going to go through all that jargon. What patients need to know about most importantly is the rules, how the calculator works. So there is several versions here. You have a PDF version, an Excel version, and a web version. What I suggest if you're on your mobile device that you do, I suggest that you use the web version. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Okay. And all right. So basically what you need to do here is put in your doctor's recommendation, whenever your doctor's recommendation was made. So mine was made on October the 8th, 2019. Okay, so I just put that in there and I hit enter. That's all you do. The calculation is done. Now, what I'm seeing here is, there's my first refill period. There is my, is there a cursor there? Can you see that? No. Okay, there's the first refill period. And right now, if you look at it, from April 6th to May 20th, I'm in my 2.1 refill period. Okay, and then actually, my refill period began actually yesterday. It was on the 21st. And then 45 days later, it will end. So you need to use your 45 days from, in my example here, if it was your example, if this was your account, you would need to use and purchase 45 days worth of medicine from May 21st to July the 4th. Because then when July the 5th comes up, as you can see here, that would be a new refill period, and then you would have 45 more days again. So you no longer have to wait for this stuff to roll off and drop off and all that. It is going to reset to you 45 days available again. And so I've already personally tested this because I am now on my next refill. My 45 days started over and I didn't have an issue. But the thing that is important to note, you must keep track of how many days you currently have. Go ahead, Mike. Did you have something,
That
Mike?
wasn't me.
Oh, sorry. Did you have something to say? Is it how do you pronounce your name, man? I don't want to tear up your name. Is it Wina?
Winna.
Winna. Okay, Winna. I didn't want to mess up your name. I'm horrible with names, and I don't
You're
want.
fine. No worries.
All right, but yeah. So, did you have any questions about that? Did I cover that right, or does that confuse them?
It's perfectly clear. I'm interested to get the link at the end, though, for sure.
Okay, absolutely.
I'd also like to throw in real quick. What if you're not sure of when your date was? Where would you find that information at?
Yeah. So if you were, what we would need to do here to do that is, um, let me pull up the patient registry. And again, like I said, I'm totally okay showing you uh, my own as the example because I'm not going to show you my driver's license number or anything like that. But I think it's important to give you a real example and not a dummy example, so that you know what your system is going to look like. So let me switch it here to so where you can see in the registry because that's a good question, and I think it's important to cover that. So I'm going to bring this up. As soon as I get it ready, you can see you can actually see what's happening here. So let me do this. So bear with me here. I'm gonna bring up this message. I just did that so I could mask my personal information. Um, so all right. So that guy's still cutting his grass, huh, Mike? Okay, so all right, let me bring this sharing screen back up here. Okay, so now what you're looking at is the patient registry, and as you can see there, we're looking at the written date, so that's going to be the October 8th that I gave you. That's for me. So whenever your written date is here, that's what you're going to put in
Okay.
as far as in that calculator. So going back to the calculator, I think I still have that pulled up. Come on, move out the way. Now, of course, this title bar is in my way. Okay. Yeah. So as you can see, I put in October 8th, and then as soon as I hit enter, it's automatically going to calculate that for me. And this is the same calculator that the dispensary is using as well. So the only difference is that they looked at it and they figured out when everybody started over. Don't ask me the matrix of how they figured that out. But all you need to know is, okay, when you call your dispensary, you want to say how many days do I currently have right now, and then you look at your calculator and you say, well, okay, well, I got this many days. I got to make that last until if I don't have enough, if I don't have the full 45, I have to make sure that I purchase the medicine in an increment that's going to make it last until the next recycle. Because if you buy everything and you burn everything up and then you're out of days, then you're out of days until the 45 days recycles again. So what I suggest is just purchasing enough to get you through half of the 45 days and then purchase enough to get you through the other half. Now, as far as how much medicine is that? Right now, under the current system, we're still doing tier one, tier two. So, um, if you purchase tier one, you will be able to purchase. We've calculated close to 4 ounces, and with tier two, it's going to be a little bit under that. So it's going to be closer to 3 ounces. So when we move on to the next session, we'll talk about how that's going to change because that probably will just be for right now, and then that will probably change to something a little bit easier, and we'll move on to that here in just a second. So as far as the calculator goes, um, hold on, guys. I just now realized something. I had to turn my phone sideways in order to see people's comments.
I'd also like to point out one of the advantages to this change is that we can wait till like day 44, and if you haven't bought any medicine, you still have those 44 days to buy. Where in the old rolling system, you lose them if you don't use them.
You were
Right.
absolutely correct. That is absolutely correct, and that's a good point for you to bring up. Is that there is no longer this situation of you losing days for not going. So if you don't get paid to a certain day, that's another thing I wanted to mention. I'm glad you brought that up. Is like try to set up your picking up your medicine to where you know whenever your money comes in. Some of us like me are on Social Security, so we get the money at the same time every month. So you know you got to figure out the budget you need. You have to figure out what's going to be enough medicine for you. You got to figure out what works for you, and then build that regiment for the 45 days, and say, okay, I know that if I get these things here, that that's going to make it through the 45 days. If I buy this much medicine in this form, whether it's flowers, edibles, tinctures, gummies, whatever, that you have purchased enough that you know, well, on the average, it's going to last me a week. This will last me 2 weeks. And that way you can kind of figure out what to buy and when to buy it. And also keeping in mind that most of these dispensaries are having these sales for different holidays or just because they want to have a sale on Tuesday. So that's something else you want to consider as well is you know if there's a sale going on you want to make sure that you can take advantage of it, so always make sure that you keep a few days back. Now just to be clear, if you don't use any of your 45 days during that refill period, when the new period starts over, there is no rollover. So you would be losing those 45 days if you don't use them if in that current refill period. So if I just don't buy nothing from May 21st to July 4th, then I'm missing out on 45 days worth of medicine. So that's something important to keep in mind is that, you know, uh, you won't lose days for not buying it, but you will lose the days if you just don't buy nothing at all. So if you just say, "Oh, I'm not going to buy nothing for the program for this time because of whatever reason," then you know your new period starts. You don't have an extra 45 days on hand. You're only going to have 45 days. So that's something you want to keep in mind as well. Is that you know you definitely want to use up the whole 45 days. This time for me, I ended up having uh, 1 day left over that I didn't use, and I think I could sacrifice 1 day. That's probably acceptable. But you know, if I really think about, it, I should have went and got me some gummies or something to max it all the way out. You know, so I mean, you know, but or some rosin. You know, I mean, you know, whatever's working. And so I think that's important. So as far as the 90-day changes, this has already been effective as of April 17th of this year. And so everybody is already currently using this program. You just need to make sure that you get this calculator and bookmark it so that you can what I tell people to do and what I do for my patients that I'm working with is that I will typically just run this calculator and then I will just do a screenshot of it and then save it to my phone. That way I can always pull it back up. I don't have to log in anything. I don't have to try to remember medical marijuana, ohio.gov, patient 90 day. Who's going to remember that? So I think it's important that we go with, you know, downloading this calculator. And you know, they did all right with the web. I don't think that if I right click on it, I can save this. Let me see. Well, maybe I can. Let's see. Okay, so you might be able to save it, but what I use if I'm on my desktop is I use something called a Windows snipping tool, and that allows you to take a screenshot. Oh, somebody's waiting to get in the room. Let me see. Hold on. I see
I
you.
see.
Hello. Let's see. We have somebody else in the room with us. Hi there, Mark. Can you hear us, Mark? I see your audio is muted. Oh, okay. So what's with that? I mean, just wanted to troll the meeting, I guess. So
Wait, was that him that did that, or
I guess so. I mean, I don't know.
there's got to be controls since you're the host, so people can't just
Let me see the waiting room. Okay, so this is somebody else. Let's get this off the screen first.
Can you
Okay.
block him?
Well, I'll see. I know how to pull it up now. Hello, Rosa. Are you in there? Can you hear us? Is your audio working? Let's see. It says you have audio there. Rosa, can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we hear you now. Hi, Rosa. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. It's
All
okay.
right. Well, I'm glad you're here. We had somebody trolling our meeting here just now, but we got
Uh,
the image off the
no, no.
screen.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So I know you missed a little piece of it, but we were just basically talking about the 90-day limits and the new calculator, and I will be providing the calculator link so everybody can go and run their own calculations. Okay, now I don't
Okay.
know this name here. Sometimes I don't know if I'm getting people's device codes or if this is somebody trying to troll us. So I don't know. Let's see. We're gonna see what happens. If this is another person trying to interrupt, we're gonna have to really scrutinize who comes in now at this point. But sometimes people's phones, devices, like mine is a weird name. Okay, they're gone. Hello. Are you? Can you hear us?
Hi,
What's up?
Ragnar. Are you okay?
Yeah. Are you there? I see you.
Yes, I'm okay, man.
Are you in there, sir? It's coming up Ragnar. Can you see like the microphone got muted there?
I heard him too.
Okay, well you don't have to have your mic on. You can just be in the meeting and listen. That's fine. All right. All right. I think we're all in here, and he's just in here listening, and that's totally fine. Not everybody has to have their microphones on. The system should switch over. If anybody sees anything weird that I'm overlooking, because I'm looking at 4 monitors right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, then you let me know. All right, so we're going to go on to the next section here, which is going to be talking about the. Oh, we have another person coming in as well. Hold on. So now we're getting people. Okay. Um, hopefully we're okay. So we have some more people in the meeting here.
Also, I'd like to point out to the people listening, whoever speaks in or if there's a noise coming through, it switches your screen to that person. And if you want to just to stay on Anthony, just click on his screen and pin his video, and it won't keep switching to everybody else when a little noise comes in. So you can just keep Anthony's screen up and locked if you pin it.
Awesome, man. See, I knew you. I knew you would be my number one tester, man. So you got it figured out better than I do. See, it's the most people I've had in a Zoom meeting in one time. So, and we have 4 people watching this on there.
Yeah, you just in Anthony's screen in the upper right hand corner, there's the 3 blue dots or 3 white dots and the little blue cube, and it says you can pin the video and just like lock it on him.
Yeah, locked and loaded. Phasers locked in. Yeah.
Yep, and then if you click on it again, you can unpin it so it can go to everybody else if you want to. So that's an option for the listeners.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, I see my uncle's on here watching me on Facebook. Hey Robert, good to see you on here watching me live. And so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next part of our deal here, which is gonna be about all the new. These are the proposed changes that were done in the meeting that they just had, and I think we already had those ready to go. Yeah, we did. Okay. So I'm gonna show you this new screen. Hopefully, no one will doodle on it this time. So here we go. Share screen. So this information is basically what was shared at the meeting. It's still loading. There it is. Um, I can make this a little bit bigger because I feel like it's a little bit small. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. How's that looking for everybody? Can everybody see that?
Yeah, zoom
Yes,
bigger.
yes.
Okay,
It's
awesome.
okay.
All right, so this first part here, this talks about Rule 3796 dot dot dot. I'm not going to read all these dash code colons and everything. And this part here is kind of like not really that important to us at the moment. I'm not saying this is not important stuff, but I want to get to the part that's going to have the most significant impact for us. So your eyes might be going crazy, but I'm scrolling down to a certain part of them. document to get to it here. As you can see, this was a long agenda here. So what I want to talk about is this table here. And table 1 represents the current 90-day supply system. And the red part highlights the amount that we were allowed to purchase in a 90-day period. Now, this first section here is for just all patients. The next section I go to will be for terminally ill patients. So that would be people that may be on hospice or people that may be have cancer or something like that. So I definitely want to make sure I cover that section correctly. So the first thing here is that, as you can see, for the current 90-day supply, it's showing there it's 8 grams for 90-day supply, 8 ounces. I'm sorry, 8 ounces, tier 1. And then tier 2, it's only 5.3. And then, they got over here on the right-hand side, a whole 90-day supply, 9 grams. So, of course, it's not making a whole lot of good sense, right? Because right here it says 8, and over here it says 9, and then over there it says 5.3. And then there's this whole day unit with the 1./10 and 2. It's very confusing, okay? And then below it in the green is actually what the limits are for the edibles. So I did post this chart on my website. So if you want to go back to it and look at it again after the meeting, it is on my website. So the next section is the proposed section. This is what they're proposing to do. So this is not, I repeat, this is not effective right now. This is proposed. And the comment period, we'll talk about that in a minute, where you can make, if you don't like this or you do like this, you can actually send an email to the pharmacy board and send in comments about what you think. So the proposed idea here is to simplify and say, okay, plant material, 8 ounces. Whole day unit, 2.5 ounces. Now, all of us know currently a 2.8 is a 2-day supply. So what they're saying here, instead of making 2.8 for 2 days, we're going to make 2.5 just 1 day. So that means instead of you getting only 2.8, you're going to have basically five grams for 2 days. So we're getting a little bit more bang for our buck, as I like to say, with this, because now we're going to be able to get more for that 2-day time period. Whereas before we were only allowed to get 2.8. And if you got 2.8s, that was 4 days. And that's, you have to make a lot of decisions based on how many days, especially if you get a 5.6 tier 2. So the idea here is to eliminate the tier 1, tier 2 thing altogether. Just let's get rid of that whole tier 1, tier 2 thing and simplify. So we would just be dealing with 8 ounces for the whole 90-day time. And then we take the 45-day system and we split that in half. So that would be 4 ounces for 45 days. To me, that's a lot simpler than trying to figure out well, if it's tier 1, it's this, and if it's tier 2, it's that. I feel like that'd be a lot harder. So this idea that they have is just to make it 8 ounces. And that's just going to be for the majority of the patients. Okay. And, down here for comparison, I know a lot of people like to compare it to California, Michigan. Sorry about that. I lost my place here. Let me find this back. Let me get the chart back up. Bear with me. And we're scrolling through. Okay. Now, for comparison, you can see what the other states did for their limits. And these are 90-day equivalents. And you notice, 7.5. Arizona, I don't know what that is. 16.70 thousand. I don't know. Delaware, 19 ounces, I guess. Hawaii, aloha. They get 24 ounces for 90 days. Look at them. District of Columbia, 6 ounces. Illinois, 16. Maine, 15. So some of these numbers are kind of like up there as far as, those are pretty good. The average, as you can see, is 13 ounces. So Ohio decided to copy off of New Mexico, maybe. New Mexico has 8.1. Okay. So as I was saying before, this is all for the, everyday medical marijuana patient. The next section we're going to cover is for the terminally ill. And my prayers to anybody that's in this section, I don't even like using this word terminally ill because I've seen people that have been terminally ill come back and not die. So I don't even like this word terminally ill. This is people that are sicker. Let's use that. Um, the current 90-day supply for these folks is 10 ounces. And then they have, instead of it being 90 days, actually it's 100 days. See, I didn't even know this. So we're learning this together. And this is we're only talking about tier one. If we go into tier two, it's less. They can only get 6.6 ounces in 66 days, which again, not that great. And then I don't feel we need to really go over the edibles and oils and everything because most people are focused only on flower. But if you need to go over those items, they are there. So now looking at the proposed changes, what they want to do is they want to go ahead and do the 8.9 for 90 days. And then again, we're doing the 2.5 for the whole day unit. And then they're using for the terminally ill, they're using 100 days instead of 90 days. And also, it looks like they are increasing. No, looks like they're changing the oil vaping limit to from 65.7 grams down to 59. And it looks like the edibles will still be 11 grams. And ointments, looks like they lowered the ointments as well from 33 to 29. So remember, these are just let me make sure no one's trying to get in this meeting. These are just the numbers. This is a proposal. So like I said, they're sending this through and they would like to get this, through and effective as soon as possible. So we don't have a set date to when this will actually happen. We do know that they are. You got something to say, Mike?
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, okay. Did anybody have anything to say? I'm sorry, I just get to talking sometimes. Did anybody have
No
a question?
problem. There is a option. I don't know if you know this, to raise your hand in the chat box. I don't know if anyone else has seen that. I haven't tested it yet, but
Hello, Jackson.
Hey, sir.
How are you?
Yo, I'm pretty good.
All right. Glad to have you in the group. Glad to have you in the Zoom. So, as Michael was saying, there is a way to raise your hand. I don't know how to do it. I mean, I've got all these emojis.
if you click on the participants, there's options to invite, mute, and raise your hand. If you just click on raise hand, Anthony can see like a blue hand show up next to your name. And once he answers your question, you can just click lower your hand and it goes away like that. If anyone's looking at the chat box, you can see right now I've got my hand raised.
Do you?
I see it.
Yep.
Huh. Wait a minute. Now, everybody's seeing it, but I don't. Wait a minute.
It's under participants.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Gotcha. See, like I said, that's on screen number 4 in here. That's just, okay. So if I look at screen number, so I gotta pay attention to what screen I'm on. Okay, so I do see your hand raised. Okay. All right. So moving on down to the next part of this here, and I'm gonna try to go slower. Now, something here, they have quantity of medical marijuana that may be purchased by patient or caregiver. And it says here, resend current version of 3796, whatever. And to me, I think they're referring to, let me go back up. I think they're talking about the rule that we're already reading here. Let me just double check that. Go up to the top here. 3796.8, yeah. So they're basically just saying that, I'm thinking, my understanding would be is that that's just showing that they would change. Yeah, it's highlighted. So
What's the topic?
say that again.
What's the topic?
The topic? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The topic.
Oh, we're talking about the proposed changes to the program in regards to the 90-day amount that you were able to purchase. I'll go back up a little bit. So since you just joined us, basically what we're saying here, or what they're trying to do is, I'm going up. Bear with me a second. Current supply. Okay, so the current supply right now for all patients is 9 ounces unless you're terminally ill. Their idea is to change it to 8 ounces and eliminate the tier 1, tier 2. So that's the big part of this section here is that they're proposing to eliminate tier 1, tier 2, and we still have a cap of 35%, but we won't have these tier 1, tier 2s, which kind of dictate how many ounces we could purchase in a 9-day period. Instead of having the tier 1, tier 2, it's just 8 ounces for 90 days period. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay, and then as far as just let me cover it again because I feel like I want to make sure I don't leave the terminally ill part out. Is yet for terminally ill patients, their limit currently is 10 ounces for tier 1 and 6 ounces for tier 2, and for the tier 1 it's 100 days and tier 2 is 66 days. I feel like this was an area of confusion for patients. So to simplify it, they're going to make it 8.9 ounces for 100 days, and there won't be any tiers, so we don't have to worry about any tiers anymore. So that's the main thing here is that they're eliminating tier 1, tier 2, and that they plan on just making it a flat 8 ounces, and for terminally ill, it'll be 8.9 ounces for their total refill period. So that's that there. So we're gonna move on to the next. Oh, somebody's calling. And we're going to move on to the next part, which is about the edibles. And I know that's been something that we've talked about. Some of us have talked about it more than others. So let me do this here. So with the edible situation, and I'm going to pull up the exact language here so you can see it. They didn't say they were going to ban edibles per se. What they were saying is that they're thinking about changing the. Their concern is they don't want edibles to be attractive to children. So,
Sir, do you like the song?
I'm sorry, I don't know what song it is. So I have no idea. I'm trying to get this language pulled up here so we can see who it is. Okay. Now I want you to see where this email came from. So let me get that off there. All right. So,
actually a class? Are you actually a teacher?
No. Well, I used to be a trainer. Used to be like a training type person. So I don't know if I call myself a teacher. I don't give myself that much credit. Okay, so this is what you're seeing right now. Come on. I'm trying to control my. Did I? Okay, so we're having this weird stuff here going on. Let me see.
Is that you writing on the page, Anthony, or is that someone else?
It is someone else, and so.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so there are 11 people that want to enter the waiting. So we have we got to deal with something here. Let me see. Hold on, folks. Hang on. So we might have people trying to crash our party, folks. Let's see. So we have some other people that are trying to get in the room right now. And I'm just trying to look at the names. Said we had 11 people trying to get in the room, so hang on. All right. Hello to the people that are in the room. If you are.
Hello.
Man, my nuts smell like baked bean sauce. What's up with that?
Oh, okay. So yeah, so it's gonna be some of that, huh?
What's up with that?
Yeah, what's up with that? we're gonna remove you. That's what's up with that. You know what I mean? So, I guess that's the only thing about this Zoom that I don't like is that I can't necessarily identify who these people are that are trying to get in the room. I can't really see their identity. So I'm gonna have to say, if I don't recognize your name, I'm not gonna let you in here because I just we can't just be having a bunch of people in here.
Mr. It's Michael. Don't kick him.
I'm sorry,
It's Michael.
Michael. Who?
Sir Ohio, listen. I told you last class you need to put like.
Oh, what was that you were saying? Oh, you're gone. Ha ha. See, that was the last class you were saying.
Yeah, because on my participation screen, it only shows like those, I guess, here in Zoom. So I only have 6 people I can monitor, but they must be through YouTube maybe or Facebook.
Nah, they were getting in the room because it had 11 people trying to get in the room, and what it is that the meeting ID is at the top of the screen, and so the people are just dialing in. Random people that are probably on YouTube right now are dialing in on Zoom.
Okay.
I see you guys trying to play and troll my YouTube feed, but guess what? You ain't getting in now. See, you can just watch it live. We can see that you're trying to get in, but your name is not going to pop up on the screen. So good luck with that. Sometimes you just have to, go with it, and you just have to say, I ain't gonna let nobody crash my meeting. So now that we're done with that, and as you can see live for the whole world, all these people that are trying to get in this meeting that probably, you know, probably are not medical marijuana patients or probably not part of the program. So I'm not going to let any more people in the Zoom right now just because I don't have time to try to figure out who's who. If you RSVP me or something like that, or if you really are trying to get in a meeting, you can send me a message on Facebook Messenger and I can see it. Or you can comment on Facebook, let me in the meeting, and I can see you on Facebook. Other than that, I'm not going to let you in the meeting. And as a matter of fact, we may end the YouTube live just because, people want to be up to shenanigans. But I got you guys. Hold on a second. Let me take care of something real quick. Okay. So now the Zoom meeting is no longer visible inside of our feed here. So everybody that needed to know the numbers, they got them. So you can, if you didn't know the meeting code or anything, you can just message me for it and we'll send you an invite. But we're not going to worry about that anymore. Now, moving on to what I want to talk about. Again, like I said, I was trying to get to the edibles, and I'm sorry I was distracted by somebody drawing all over the screen or whatever. So I apologize.
Not your fault.
No, but it's just lessons learned, lessons learned. So just gonna put this onto a notepad or something. So I don't have. Let's see. Draw over this now. People will try to do stuff to kind of interfere when you're trying to do something positive. There's always going to be a hater out there. I'm used to it now. Okay, so this section here is about the edibles. And the main thing is that they were talking about confections and baked goods. So there's already some things that are in the program like chocolate, breakfast bars, aka Rice Krispie treats. Those are all similar. Confection would be something, anything they have to use to make the edibles. So the concern people had was that people, the pharmacy board may try to restrict or limit the type of edibles that are already currently available in the program. So there is a link on my website that will allow you to basically go in there and see the language, all of it. And I'm gonna pull that up right now because I don't like I don't like the screen I got up right now. And basically, we want you to send an email to the pharmacy board if you're someone that uses edibles, and let them know that you need those edibles and that you don't want them changed because their idea is they're not taking anything away, but they may at some point restrict or make it harder for the companies to produce edibles. And we basically got several new processes online now that now are able to make processed goods. So we want to make sure that the pharmacy board understands that, yes, we can improve on our edible program and make it better, but we don't want you to take anything away. I mean, that's the main thing that we want to make sure we get. So here on my website, Ohio Cannabis Live, and right here, if you hit click to save the edibles, this will actually take you to a screen here that kind of like shows you the language that they said. And I'm not going to read all of it, but you can read it. And this is something that is in the proposal that they're already looking at. So we have until May 25th to comment. And so the emails to comment are on the bottom of this page here. And I'm going to scroll to that. See, it says click to send email 1 or click to send email 2. When you click on this button, this is going to open up an email, whether it's on your phone or on your computer. It's going to automatically engage an email of some sort, whatever your preferred email is. And then I also have the actual email addresses here at the bottom that you can copy and paste. Now up here above that is some language which says, "Dear Board of Pharmacy." This is kind of just like a template you could use to kind of give them a format, kind of have a formulated response. Because like I said, if it just seems like you're sending them a complaint email, they're not necessarily going to take it seriously. And this language is kind of like to kind of guide them. And it also gives a proposed language that is actually a little bit better than the language that they currently have. So it's a suggestion, not something you have to do, but it would be nice if we get people to send in to the pharmacy board about how you feel about the edible situation, how you feel about the new limits, so that they can get the feedback, because they do want to hear from patients, and that kind of helps them decide what they're going to do. So they heard enough about the limits, they heard enough about the curbside and everything else. So those people giving feedback, it did help drive some of the changes that are coming to the program now, hopefully in the next few weeks. I didn't get a time frame from them. I did invite the Board of Pharmacy to this virtual town hall, but obviously with everything going on, it's really hard for everybody to get things going. It's tough, and I realize that. So that's the thing with the edibles. You can read over this some more. Someone else had brought up about the calculator, and if you go to my live blog on my website, and I'm gonna show this to you. Obviously, I post information every day about what kind of promotions are going on with dispensary X, Y, and Z. But if you were just to click on, let's say this post here, what's going to happen is you can hit all posts, and what that will do is that will bring up all the posts. And like I said, I will put a new link up so you guys can get to it faster. But if you had to get back to it, I didn't realize it was this far buried, but it is buried in here now because we've had so much. But here is the link I sent out about the program, the edibles, and yeah, I'll make a new link because it's too far down here. Here's another link that I put out about the proposed changes. So if you want to go back and look at that table I had, it's all in my blog. That's all I'm really trying to show you guys. I'm just scrolling through pretty quickly, but you can scroll down through here and read about the deals. You can read about the changes, and the calculator, it got buried in here. So like I said, I will post a new link after the meeting. There's a calculator right here. So if I click on this in the blog, it's going to bring up this link. And when you click on it, that's going to engage a PDF version of the calculator. And I found out this PDF version will only work if you have it on the computer. It might work on your phone, but I haven't seen it work on my phone, and I have an Android, so I don't know what it does on the iPhone. That's why they created the web version that I showed you earlier, because that made it easier for patients to be able to access it. So, if you can't find it, you don't. Where did Anthony say it was? If all else fails, it is in my blog on my website. You might have to scroll through about 10 deals to find it, but it's in there. But like I said, I will repost it again. That way you can access it again. And I recommend that you download it to your device so that you can always have it, and download it with the information. So, like I said, I'll type it in again for those that didn't see it earlier. I'm putting in my recommendation date. Don't tell nobody. Uh, and then it will hit enter, and then it will automatically populate those refill periods for you. And then you just need to keep that hanging on your wall. Mark it in your calendar on your phone so you can go back to it. That's what I would do. That way you can remind yourself when a new refill period is beginning, and then kind of build yourself a schedule, just like you do with your traditional medications. Every month when it's time to go get that prescription. So you want to do this the same way with your medical marijuana. You want to make sure that you have it to where you can figure out what's going to work for you so you don't run out of days, because that's the most important thing that I worry about is people running out of days. That is just like the most important thing, is you want to be able to get what you need in order for you to medicate properly so that you don't run out of days. All right, so that's the end of that, guys. I know that was a lot of information that I kind of whizzed through in different screens, and of course we had some people that were kind of trying to make us have issues, but we got through it. Now that I've covered all these things, what I want to do is open it up for people to be able to talk and ask questions. And then, we'll see if we can figure out the answers together. If we don't get the answer, then I'll ask the appropriate people to try to get us the answer. And then I'll just, make sure that I post that information online so that you guys will be able to get the right information. So, all right, who has questions?
And
I
you
have a
guys,
question.
go ahead.
Raise your hand.
It's really, I know, I was clicking around to find my little hand.
I don't think you get a notification though when the hand goes up. Unless you're looking at it, you're not going to know. So if it made like a little whoosh sound or something, that would be helpful, because I had my hand raised, but you didn't catch it. So if there was a chime it could make on your end, that would be good. I don't know if there's an option for that.
Yeah. Good idea.
All right, but go ahead.
Go first.
Okay, just real quick, related to the patient calculator.
Okay.
Do you know if the dispensaries have a program, or if ORS is able to reflect what's being purchased and how many days remain within the 45-day period as it's been rolled out, or are they doing that manually?
That is a very, very good question. And my understanding, and this is just my understanding of it, what I'm told, because I asked a similar question, is that because obviously if you look in the patient registry, the numbers are all wrong. It's like I'm 100 out of 90 or something like that. So
right.
What I believe that they're doing is that they're going off where you were at when the day. I think everybody they look at the calendar and say, on April 17th, this person had this many days, and they go back and count back to when that person's refill period began in this April time period, and say, okay, well, this Johnny Doe might have 20. For me, when everything changed over, I had 40 days available. The reason I had 40 days available was because before the changeover, I had used 5 days with. So I still have it on the screen. Okay, so I'm gonna use my account as an example. So basically, they said, well, what did you buy from April 6th to April 17th? And then they looked at that and said, okay, from April 6th to April 17th, you purchased 5 days worth of supply. So that refill period, it's your same refill period you already had. They're just splitting them in two. That's the confusing part. So that's why you see on the screen you have refill period 01, 02, and then 11, and then 12, and then 21, and then 22. So I'm currently in 22. So if you were looking at your registry per se, and like I said, on the back end, I'm sure that each dispensary has a different way, a different profile in each patient, and they all have different systems they use it. But they are going back in ORS and being able to see what you purchased in a total 90-day period. And that's still how they're looking at it. It's just that now they're separating that 90-day period into 2 cycles. Like I said, using myself as an example, if patient example being me, I had whatever I had before that. Let's just say before they changed it over, I had 3 days left. Okay. So when my new refill period began on April the 6th, I technically got 45 days, although I couldn't access them until April the 17th. So if a person, patient X, we're just saying patient X is whoever, their refill period began on May 21st, you know, then that's when they would start over. So no matter what you did in March, February, January, none of that matters anymore. We're not even looking at those. We're only looking at what you've done in the current refill period you currently stand in right now. So some people might have already purchased 45 days worth of material in April, and they may have ran into a pitfall because they had already purchased 45 days. But from a lot of those people, they were just getting ready to restart over to the next period. So they might have bought 45 days worth of material, and then 5 days later, they're starting a new refill period because they split it in half. Now, if they wouldn't have split it in half, then they would still have to wait the 90 days for that to fall off, which would have been, we already know what that was like. It's very hard to keep track of. So
Right.
to further answer your question, I think we still need to probably go back and ask them again, how are they calculating the days? Because we really don't know. And since Grant is no longer there, I don't have that resource available to me to ask him and say, "Hey, Grant, how did they figure? How are they doing that?"
Okay.
So I think the main thing, the guidance I'm going to give everybody about keeping up is check with the dispensary that you go to the most. For me, I
Okay.
go to Verdant and Newark a lot. So, I asked them, tell me how many days I got, and then I mark that down. And then going forward from that time, every time I buy something after that time, I'm going to subtract off what Verdant told me because that's where my running
Okay.
tablet started at. Now, if I go over to Strawberry Fields and they tell me they got something different, I'm going to reconcile back to, hey, I went to Verdant on this day and I had this many days and I bought this many things. And this is something else I strongly recommend. Keep all your receipts.
Yes.
And what I do is I take and put every label, I peel it off the product and I put it on the back of my receipt. So if there's ever a discrepancy, and to be honest with you, there was, like my very first purchase in the whole program, they didn't calculate, they didn't record it in orders. So I had to go back and say, hey, this ain't right. And I had to send them a picture of the receipt. They said, you still have it? I said, of course I still have it. I still have the container that it came in. So keeping the receipt and keeping the labels is very useful because for one, you can see what you bought in that trip. Number two, if there was any kind of discount, you can use that kind of as a reference point for a future visit. They're running the same sale, then the discount will be similar. That kind of give you an idea about the sales tax or whatnot. So this is every receipt from every purchase in the Ohio Medical Marijuana Program. It's a
Nice.
lot. I show you my containers yet. That's even more crazy than the bag there. But I think that the main thing that they want us to do is keep track of the days once you get the official count. So once you get your official count from your dispensary, that's when you need to start keeping your count on your own because then you don't need to ask them every time you call. You're going to know. And then if they say something different, you're going to know there's something wrong, that they're off. Somebody messed up somewhere. And if you think your days are wrong, the guidance will still be the same. You need to send an email to the pharmacy board at that mmcp registry.gov. I'm probably messing it up, but I'll give it to you if you need it. But that's still the guys. Even though we don't have Grant anymore, you still need to email the pharmacy board if your days are wrong. They are the only ones that can override whatever the dispensary thinks you got. So the dispensary has made a mistake, and this has happened. They can fix it, but if they're not agreeing with your math, then that's when you need to go back to the pharmacy board and say, hey, I need an audit on my days. I need to know exactly how many days you're showing I have. So then, you can be sure. So those are the two things. Check with your dispensary that you shop at the most. Go ahead. Did you have something, Mike?
Well, that brought two things real quick.
Yes,
also,
sir.
When you deal with the medical board, sometimes you talk to somebody else to get a different answer. Because in the beginning of the program, I qualified for indigent status, and the medical marijuana clinic forgot to transfer that knowledge to the board, so they put me in as regular, and when I called them, they said, okay, you qualified, but we can't put you in the indigent status until next year since you already paid for your license. You're locked in. And that really let my hopes down a lot. And just out of the blue, a couple days later, I was like, I'll try again. So I emailed them, and somebody else got my message, somebody named Hope Misha. And she's like, oh, sir, that's no problem. I can just go right in and put you in indigent status. You sent me the proof. Bingo. There it is.
Wow.
And that's the human aspect of our program. So sometimes if you get an answer that doesn't sit well with you, try again a different day. If you get somebody
Yes.
else, you might get a different response. And that, I mean, that's just frustrating, but that was my experience. So I was able to get my discount applied without having to wait till next year.
That's so valid, though, what you just said. It's like to recognize that it is still so new to Ohio, even though we've been in this for a year. That's a wonderful thing to just remember, that if at first you get an answer that just really, like, it just doesn't, like you said, it doesn't fit, it doesn't make sense, don't give up. Try again. And maybe it's a learning curve for them as well, you know, to be able to cut them some slack and just like go back and just say, you know, this is something that I was attempting to accomplish. Is it possible? And, you know, look what happened. You found out that, yes, they could make it happen. That's fantastic.
Right. And that was what the medical clinic told me. All I have to do is go in and do it. But the person who answered my email was like, no, sir, we can't change it. You're locked in. So when I contacted them again, I started with a fresh slate. I didn't say I already talked to somebody. I just said, hey, I didn't get my indigent status. Here's my paperwork for proof. Can you do anything about it? And I just remember her name because she gave me hope. And that was her first name, Hope Misha. And I was like, can you help me out, please? And she's like, oh, I'll go right in and change. There you go.
Awesome.
And the other thing real quick was in regards to the edibles. I lost the link, but I saw in the paragraph where in Colorado's program, it's illegal to design your edibles to look like animals or people. It just can't look enticing. And I was like, that would be a fair concession. Give us whatever the edibles we need, but design them as just a square or a block. Like, I don't need them to be in the shape of stars and sea animals or whatever. Just the regular gummy is good.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one, man. I mean, just give me a square gummy covered in sugar, and I'm happy.
Right.
I love Wonder gummies. I got me some
They
of
are-
those today.
Hey, and I got an idea for the rest of you in the room. If you ever tried the Wana gummies, they're absolutely delicious. I say we should all write the company and ask them to make non-THC, non-CBD gummies, just so we can buy them as a treat, just plain. That would be awesome.
Okay, yeah, I hear you on that one. That's definitely interesting. And so, and I just want to go back over the thing you said about the Indian stats for those that are watching this live. Is that you can, if you signed up for the program and you are not currently getting your indigent status and you receive Social Security disability benefits, you can get your indigent status added. That the first, like you said, the first person in that first message you got, that was incorrect information. Indigent status can be added by the pharmacy board. They just need to get the information that verifies that you're on Social Security, which can be your Social Security award letter, or just the statement you get for every year that shows that you are on Social Security. So yeah, I don't know why you would have got that. Obviously, they may have had some people there that were new. I had somebody tell me when it first started that you couldn't get a discount for being indigent status, and I had to, of course, say no, that's incorrect because I just got a discount, so I know it's correct. So
That's the key thing. That's the key thing, though. You can't be low income or you can't be unemployed. You have to have Social Security to qualify at this time. They don't base it off your tax records. It's if you got Social Security, you can qualify.
Yeah, and so something else I wanted to bring up, since we're rolling into this indigent thing, is that one of the other, and I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. There is a proposal in this agenda of stuff where they were looking at changing the qualifications for indigent status. I'm trying to look and see if I can find that section.
Right,
I
because there's a
remember
lot of
reading
people.
that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that need the help and they don't qualify because it's only if you get Social Security at this point in time.
Yeah, in the last meeting, last two couple meetings they went to, they kept talking about opening up to state employees or government employees on pensions. Um, so, Veterans said Private shall submit the board funds any of the phone documents, except for documents listed in paragraphs A and B. Except for approved documents must show the veteran status honorable, general, and honorable. I'm looking at this. Enroll in the state retirement system, receiving monthly discipline. Examples include state public employees, retirement, state teacher, police retirement, um, court registration fee enrollment, disability program. So I think this was discussed in the meeting with pharmacy for sure, um, but I don't think that they have made proposed changes like language yet, because that's something that I kind of been wanting to see change, is that people that receive Medicaid or SNAP benefits, those people have already been verified as indigent by the state, and you have to prove that you're indigent in order to receive those benefits, and they're all income based already. So I feel like those individuals have already met the burden of proof to show that they're low income. So they should be able to simply send a picture of their food stamp card or their Medicaid card as proof that they're currently receiving state assistance. And I think that is something that is being looked into. But when I look at these rules here right now, and I'll let you look at it with me, make sure I'm not missing it. But I don't think that they have made the leap to that yet. The only thing I keep constantly hearing is about government employees, state employees that are on pensions, and not necessarily the folks that are actually poor. I mean, that are receiving SNAP benefits and what am I trying to say? SNAP benefits and Medicaid or Medicare for that matter. But if you're on disability SSDI, then you're obviously receiving Medicare. And I see down here, they say it right here: enroll in the federal Social Security SSDI, which is what I'm in, or people that are on SSI to qualify for reduced registration fee due to enrollment in their programs. Blah 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 blah. And the new part that they're adding in here, in the blue part, is a new part they're adding, which still does not open it up for people that are actually poor. So that's something I think that pharmacy board, if you are watching this on the replay, I think that we can all agree that we need to open this up to more people that are poor. And that should actually help the program numbers, and that should also help revenue for the state and for the dispensaries and the LLCs. So that's where I feel about it. So that's something I'm kind of fighting for more people to be able to qualify for indigent status.
It sounds like they got it backwards. Like the people with the pension are probably a little better off than the ones who are still, in their working years with SNAP and everything, trying to get by.
Exactly. I mean, and no disrespect to somebody that is on their pension, that's been a police officer or a state employee. We definitely appreciate your service, and I don't feel that you should be left out either. But I still feel like, as you stated, Michael, I know people that receive Social Security disability, and they also may receive other things, but people that receive pensions, my understanding is that they don't receive disability benefits in the same setup. That's my understanding of it. I could be wrong, but my understanding is that state employees, do not receive or pay into Social Security benefits, so they don't get the same award letter and everything that we do. So that's what they were trying to do, is make it so that more people that were, I guess, in government or state, or I mean police. I mean, hey police, if you want to get your medical marijuana card, more power to you, Mr. Officer. I mean,
Yes.
I ain't stopping you. I ain't knocking you, but more people need to be able to have access. I mean, one of the common complaints that I get from people that are on the fence about becoming patients is the cost. And I don't know, many of us have seen the cost come down for renewals, but still, it's still roughly about $200 for a new patient. So I think we should get that price down. I know in Michigan it's a little bit cheaper. So that's one thing.
They have package deals. You can do 2 for $100 now.
What's that?
To get your license or renew your license in Michigan, you can do 2 people for $100.
Oh yeah, see, I mean, yeah, wouldn't that be great, you guys? So we could get our license renewed, and we could do the 2 for 1, for
Yeah.
$100. I mean, me and my,
BOGO.
we have everybody licensed, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, anything else that we need to bring up here? Because I think what we're going to do, guys, I really enjoy doing this. Is we're going to have more meetings. We're going to have medical marijuana patient meetings like this every month. I think I'm going to do it every month, and that way we can kind of build up more people. This one, we did it, but I think that we're going to do it again. That way, more people can join it. I do see the comments coming up here on the side here on our chat box here, and honestly, I just couldn't read it because I have a spotlight that's shining in my face. So sorry about that. I'm sorry I didn't read your message, Robert, until now. Um, so yeah, I think that we have to look at ways that we can improve our program, and part of that is having the platform. I've been wanting to have a town hall meeting for a long time, and trying to get everybody together to go somewhere is tough. And I think that has made it difficult for people. And then also with the virus, people, we can't have mass gatherings right now, but we can have a
Right.
mass gathering on the internet. And I know a
Right.
lot of people that follow me on Facebook and YouTube, they don't ever watch my live videos. They're usually watching it on the replay. So if you are one of those folks that are watching the replay, I appreciate you watching it. Sometimes it's important for you to watch the whole replay so you get everything that we cover, and that's why you can replay it. So I just want to make sure people that are watching know that if you missed a part or want to go back to a part, you'll be able to rewind and fast forward this meeting on Facebook or YouTube. I could have recorded it on Zoom, but I just didn't see the point in doing that because I know how people are. They're going to watch it on Facebook or YouTube. They're not going to watch it on Zoom. um, Other thing I wanted to talk about real quickly before we go is sending feedback to growers. I read a lot of stuff on Facebook about uh, people having issues about products and things like that. So what I want to show you guys is what I've done to address that issue. Now, many of you are familiar with my website, Ohio Cannabis Live, but this website here is also my website. Actually, this website was started before Ohio Cannabis Live, and this is my patient advocate website, Ohio Medical Cannabis Group. Some of you may have seen this group on Facebook, and it also you can join this group on my website too. There's two main things about this website that make it important. One of them is that you can access all the dispensary menus from my website here. You just click on Ohio dispensary menus, and you will see all the menus that are available at all the dispensaries. So you can kind of window shop, price shop everywhere. But if you're having an issue with a grower, it's important you let the grower know what the issue is. Or if you just want to give them feedback, it's important for you to be able to do that. So if you go over to this other tab here, Ohio Growers and Processors, um, when you click on this is going to take you to a website. The pictures are ugly right now, but I'm working on it. And I've listed all the growers here. There's a few processors here as well, and some of the new ones. Sorry, new processors, if you're watching, I haven't added you to the page yet, but you will be added. We got about 5 new processors that came online, by the way. But you can click on these different send feedback buttons. Like, for example, I want to send feedback to Fireland Scientific. I'm just going to press send feedback. What's going to happen now? I'm going to be sent right to firelandscientifics.com. So I don't have to Google search it and figure out where there is the real website. And there's a contact button right up here. And you can contact Fireland Scientific and tell them how you really feel about their product. They very much would like to hear it. And if there's issues, they are relatively responsive addressing those issues. If you're having trouble after you've done sending feedback and you still don't get any resolution of your concern, that's when you want to contact me, and I can reach out to those LLCs for you on your behalf. But like if you have a problem or issue with Buckeye Relief, you would just simply click send feedback, and of course some of them have this 18 order disclaimer. I have it on my website too. That's to keep the government off of us. And you can send in your inquiry right here. So you don't have to send it on Facebook, because posting on Facebook, yeah, we all read it, but that doesn't mean that the LLC owner sees it. or reads it. So I think it's important that if you're having a problem with the grower or processor, or just want to talk to them and send them feedback about how good the product is or how they can improve the product, just like Michael's suggestion about Wanna Gummies. Of course, I know that Wanna Gummies is a national brand, and they're very particular about who they let process their products. Um, and they're very particular about how their products are made. They have like their own recipe, more or less, and they're probably never going to let anybody make a non medical related gummy. They might. I mean, it's definitely worth it to try. But then again, where would they sell those at? Would they sell those at the gas station? That would be awesome. But I think they're going to probably stick to the recipe because it's making them a ton of money.
Yeah, I just want one 5-pound bag of just candy Wanna gummies. Just one. That's all. They're good.
It would be nice, man. It really would be nice. You know, but like I said, as far as edibles and gummies, there are several new processors and several new gummies on the market. Kind of overwhelming now. I feel like we have the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. I mean, we have Buckeye Relief making all kinds of chocolates. We have Wellsprings Fields making breakfast bars, aka Rice Krispie treats. Um, we have honey. We have peanut butter. There's three companies making honey, by the way. Grow
Oh,
Ohio,
really?
yeah, Grassroots is a new company, and then we have Buckeye Relief has honey too. Wellsprings Fields launched peanut butter, so you can get your own THC infused peanut butter and do whatever you like to do. Make you a PB and J if you would like. So we have, and as far as the vaping pens, if you're a big vape pen person, there are several new vape pen companies out there. There's Verano Vapes, Grassroots, I believe, is making some. To get this one, guys, Mother's Knows Best. Yeah, that's a thing. Uh, the Botanist is making vape pens now, so I did a video about those with the Woodward trim in it or whatever. Um, and so
It is based on Woodward flower then?
it is Woodward trim. So it's like we couldn't sell you guys the stuff in one of our jars, so we had to do something with it. So
They post that on the label. Do they tell you if it's trim run or nug run?
they do not, but when
So
you
you have to
purchase
ask.
I asked, and they told me that it was trim. And
For
yeah,
those
there is peanut
listening,
butter. Yes, Robert. There is. I'm just answering Robert here on social media. There is peanut butter. Yeah, that's by Wellsprings Fields. That just came online probably like maybe 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Anthony, do you know that because you frequent various or how do you know that? Is it on the processor's websites that you have links to on your website, or how do you know that? That's awesome.
Well, I shop the menus like every day, guys. Like when I'm getting ready to buy something, I check every dispensary, and then um, obviously because I've done a lot of review videos at several different dispensaries around the state. I haven't been to them all. Disclaimer: I've been to 29 out of the 51 dispensaries so far.
Get it?
I still have to do Cleveland and Akron. So Cleveland and Akron, if you're listening, I'm coming soon. As soon as we can make it safe, I'm coming. So I haven't forgot Cleveland. I haven't forgot Akron. I've been to Canton, but I haven't been to Zenleaf. So Zenleaf, if you're watching Zenleaf, I ain't forgot about you either, and neither as some of the other ones. I haven't forgot Debbie's either. And,
if you come to Canton, I'll meet you there if you like.
okay. Bowling Green, I haven't forgot about you either. I know there's a dispensary in Bowling Green that's kind of isolated. I think that's Soothy. G Leaf, I haven't forgot about you either. So don't if we haven't seen Ohio Cannabis live standing outside the dispensary yet, it's just been logistical. It's nothing personal. I intend to go to every last one of them and mark them all off and say, "Yep, been to that one, been to this one." Something I like to tell people, and I'll tell everybody that's watching this is that, uh, and I like what you hit it right on the head. Road trip, Robert. I see that. Um, I live in Columbus, Ohio, and I have four. I'm blessed to have four dispensaries in Columbus, but that doesn't mean that I run and shop at Columbus. I shop around the state because I'll give you a classic example. When the Dab Tab product was released, There was only one dispensary that had it at first, and that was About Wellness Lebanon. So I drove there to get it because I'm familiar with the dab tabs. I tried them in Michigan, and I liked them. I think it was something that people could use, and I think that it was worth doing a review on it. So, sometimes for me, I will drive all over the state just to get the product, just because it's not available nowhere else. And also, I just want to say this too, since I'm having a town meeting, I'm just going to say this. In Columbus, even though we have four dispensaries, the locations to where they um, are kind of challenging for some folks. And then, we only have one dispensary in Columbus that has curbside pickup. The rest of them, you have to still go in the dispensary. So that is a challenge for some people, especially me. I'm a high risk patient. So although I've had to go in some shops, many of you might have seen me in the isolation suit or my hazmat mask, my 95 respirator mask. Um, it's hard for me to shop and have to go in. So I try to get curbside. And right now, there are very few dispensaries that are doing curbside. I know Pure Ohio is doing it in Springfield and Dayton. I know that Verdant is um, doing it very well at some locations and not at others. That could be a challenge. So I just want to let patients know that sometimes you will have to travel outside of your comfort zone because dispensary might be 15 minutes away from your house, but you might have to make that trip to Coshocton or Newark or Canton or Cleveland because they might be having something there that they don't have here. And I mean, I get to the point where, like, if I find a strain that's actually helping me, I find myself chasing it. Layer cake would be a good example. A layer cake has been really good at helping me with my pain, but there are different batches, there are different THC ones, and I figured out which one works for me. So I would literally go anywhere in the state to purchase that layer cake because I know that it's helping me. So
Is
that's
that the
something
one from Grow, Ohio?
correct.
Because
Correct.
Farkas Farms, or I mean, I'm sorry, Bullseye has one out now at Zenleaf.
Correct. You're right. And I did see that, and I noticed that there's a significantly lower THC than the one by Grow Ohio. And, I could just tell you guys from purchasing multiple products from all over the state and buying stuff at low THC, high THC, um, it really depends on the person. You might have somebody that buys something that's 12% and they love it. You might have somebody that buys it and says it sucks. It's too low THC for me.
Right.
I didn't feel anything. So it's not always going to be about the THC. It's going to be about
Right.
it's going to be about the terpenes, the strain itself, what it's known for, what it's good for, and where your tolerance level is. So you might be a person that likes stuff that is middle of the ground. So you might not need the highest THC one. You might need the 15% because that's where you're comfortable at. Some people don't want to be so psychoactive that they can't talk straight, they can't focus, they can't remember they let the dog outside. So and I'm just saying that because I did that. And so that's because when you get something that's really good and you get so medicated, you're like, "Whoo!" You get so relaxed, and sometimes we get too relaxed, and then that makes us make typos when we're typing messages, say the wrong thing to our friends, a lot of things. So I think it's important for us to find out what I like to call the happy medium. And if you ever feel like you are too medicated, a way to combat that is to add CBD. Um, I figured out that I can't medicate properly unless I have some form of CBD at my disposal, whether it's a tincture, a gummy, or whatever. I have to have CBD for me. If I don't have it, um, the stuff doesn't really do a lot for me. I have to add a little bit in. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. Um, that's me personally. I tell people all the time, if you haven't added any CBD of any kind to your medical marijuana treatment plan, you should strongly consider it. And I recommend starting it in the daytime and not at night. Because one thing for me, if I take CBD in the evening, I'm up. I'm ready to go, locked, and loaded. You can't shut me up. CBD to me is kind of like having a cup of coffee in some ways. You know, it will definitely energize you physically and sometimes spiritually and emotionally, depending on the type of person you are with different things. And it will give you a balance so that you are not so psychoactive that you forget that you left the dog outside, or you forget that you left your keys in the car. You know, we all have absent-minded moments, but sometimes it's just that we get ourselves too medicated, we kind of lose track of everything. So that's just some advice I want to pass along to the community that I've learned going through these different products is that you definitely don't want to over medicate yourself. And I'm reading a comment here from Robert. He says, I found Close Encounter from Buckeye Relief early on for migraines, but it seemed to have been renamed or disappeared. That's like going to the pharmacy and then they try another med instead of what works. Um, as far as I know, Close Encounters is still around. I know there is a live resin of it. Um, the Buckeye Relief has a humongous facility with a lot of flowers. So when they harvest things, it just could be in or out of rotation. They could have had an issue with the plant. I can check on it for you, Robert, and find out and answer your comment later and see, you know, what the status on it is. If they're coming out with another batch, I can certainly check on that. Or you could actually just send them a message right here on this screen that I'm on. Ironically, we're on the Buckeye Relief's screen here, and you could actually just reach out to them directly, and I can assure you that they will respond to you through this contact us portal. And I've had people test it for me to see if they got a response back, and they were very pleased to know that they did get a response back relatively quick, like within a few days. So I would definitely recommend, Robert, that you send them a message here on their website and tell them what you think about Close Encounters. Because I remember Close Encounters from the beginning of the program. Actually, Keyline Frappe and Close Encounters were one of the first strains that they actually launched with their program when we first started. And for you guys that didn't know this, Fireland Scientifics and Buckeye Relief were the first two cultivators to start the program and actually pass all the tests. So
I'd also recommend for Robert, Headband by The Standard is an amazing strain for any type of head pain, brain pain, migraine, or like I almost died from meningitis, but I still get that brain pain from it.
Ooh.
Headband, it just there's no pain. It just completely eliminates it. So I would recommend looking into Headband if you can find it on your menus close to you. It's by The Standard.
I totally agree with you 100%, Michael. I actually can vouch for Headband Live Resin. I haven't tried the flower itself, but I've been savoring the same Headband Live Resin for, let me tell you, 3 months. That's how
The flower is what I've used, and it works. It's like an instant headache knockout.
Oh, so Robert says he has the Headband Live Resin as well, and I feel like it tastes kind of like a fruity banana flavor. It's really tasty. I love it. I savor it a lot. Yeah, we've tried the 7. You're talking about the 707 headband is what he's also mentioning here, and I've tried that as well, and that was actually pretty good too. But I think the Standard beats them with their Standard headband. I just like the taste and the terpenes.
That's the same. Standard Headband is what I highly recommend for any type of brain pain.
Oh yeah. All right. So yeah, I think that was good. Did anybody have anything else that they would like to talk about? I'm here.
I want to share something really quick with people to ask a question. When you're buying pens or whatnot, when we talk about trim run or nug run, when they make the oils, when they prepare the flower buds, they trim the leaves off, but those don't get thrown away. Those get reused. And basically, the leaf is considered the hot dog part of the cow or the plant, and the bud is like the filet mignon. So if your cart is made from the flower bud, and if you're on the fence, I'd recommend trying it. But if it's from the trim, it's kind of like, eh. So it's just something to ask. Like when Anthony was speaking about, is your trim run or are we not good enough to have the good flour used in it? That's what he's talking about. If it's made from trim, it's not going to be nearly as good as if it's made from the flower bud, which would be, I would say, the filet mignon.
Man, listen, I'm a filet mignon guy myself, Mike. I love filet mignon. That's about the only steak I'll purchase now. And you are totally correct. And you know, something that a lot of people wonder sometimes is like, well, how is my vape cart made? What is being done to make it? And so you brought up a very good point, which is actually correct information that some processors will use the trim run, or which is like you said, the trimmings from the leaves, or some processors will use the nug run, which is the actual buds. And again, I agree with you, that is the filet mignon. So we do have some processors that use one or the other, and then we also have some processors that use two different forms of extraction for vape pens. Either we have one processor that's using a CO2 extraction method,
Mhm.
which is a less, I would say, a less chemical based. CO2 is more or less like compressed air. They keep in a compressed chamber, whereas the butane extraction, some people like those better, but it, it it's just preference. But the butane obviously is exactly what it is. Same thing like butane and a lighter. And so when they use the butane extraction, they basically purge that butane um, back off of the product before you see it, because they have it in the system. Now, one day I'll show you guys a picture of it, and
Closed loop.
they cook it off of there so that there is no butane in your cannabis. So, I mean, in your pen. And so, to me, me personally, I would prefer CO2. I think you hit it around on the head, Mike. You know, CO2. You know, a lot of times they'll use nug runs for that, and you're going to get a lot more terpenes. And then sometimes a processor will just simply add terpenes to a vape pen to make it more flavorful. And those terpenes could either be botanical terpenes, or they could be THC terpenes. I mean, cannabis derived terpenes. Botanical terpenes are simply the same flavors, but they are harvested from other plants that share the same terpenes as cannabis. Cannabis derived terpenes are actually terpenes that were extracted from an actual cannabis strain. So that's something else that some processors may do. Some processors may use the terpenes that came with the strain that they're extracting from, and other ones may not. And they may use, like you said, the trim run, and you may not taste as much terpenes. Like the botanists, when they use the trim run from the trim run from the Woodward products, the Woodward fine cannabis products, I could tell a difference because I did not taste a lot of wedding cake terpenes, but I felt the effects that I would normally feel from the Woodward flower, because it's still coming from the same plant. It just didn't have the same flavor. Now, when I did the Sunset Sherbet pen, it was also used made with trim. I could taste the terpenes on the Sunset Sherbet, and the Sunset Sherbet has a very distinctive flavor to it. If you've tried it, it has a really good flavor. So maybe I like it so much I recognize it more over the wedding cake. But I have lots of jars of wedding cake here in my house, so I love wedding cake too. So I can say that I did not taste a lot of flavor. That's just me. Did you have something else you wanted to add in there, Mike?
Just that if you've ever tried two of the same strain from two different cultivators and they're night and day difference, that could be a reason, because one used trim and the other used their actual flower buds. So there's so many variances in cannabis that it's never the same really. And it's good to ask the question. So if you're ever on the fence, like, oh, is this made from the flower bud? Then I would definitely want to try it. But if it's from the trim, I'd be more hesitant.
Right. You're right about that, man. Right on. And me personally, guys, I'm a rosin man. I love rosin concentrate. That's when I go out and buy concentrate. I typically buy rosin or live resin, but rosin to me is just, it's going to be more natural. It's going to be a heat press. It's going to be solventless, meaning that they didn't run butane through it, or many other chemicals or anything else. They're just putting it in a pressurized system and pressing it out with heat and pressure. And I know that some of the processors, Fireland specifically, they use Nug Run or they use Bubble Hash to make their rosin, which makes it look amazing, taste amazing. You can definitely taste the terpenes when you do some rosin from Fireland Scientifics. Um, but let me tell you, Calex Peak, they making some ice cream cake rosin, and it is good. Okay, I'm serious. Yeah. So if you're on the fence about trying concentrates in the little glass jars, start with the rosin first and work your way down. I mean, the other stuff might be cheaper or less, but the rosin to me is phenomenal, and it lasts me a long time. I can make a jar of rosin last me 2 months, and it's only a gram. Okay, and I could hit it every couple of days or once a week. And once you get a collection of them going, then you really have a variety, and you figure out, well, I need to hit this one for lunch, and hit this one for dinner, and then you have a regiment.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes your
Definitely.
flower last a lot longer when you do it that way. I mean, if you add other products in, if you're just a flower only person, I get it. But if you add in some of the other products, you will see your flower last a whole lot longer. And the last thing I'm going to cover before I switch over to the strain of the day, is something I'm going to be doing every time I do these videos, is who on here is vaporizing? Who uses a vaporizer?
I do.
Okay. Anybody else?
I do.
Okay. What are you doing with your vaporized material right now?
I
The
save
already
it.
made bud. I've got a couple jars full of it.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I save it because you take it with a little bit of peanut butter. It's like you're getting yourself an extra edible, so you have that to use. It's stuff you're throwing. If you throw it away, you're just like getting rid of a free edible. So
Right on, right on. You see,
Exactly.
you guys read my mind right away there. So, you know, I have been in the program since January of last year, and I started vaping in February, and so I still have all this material from February to now.
I
So
have
I
over
have
3 ounces.
I don't know. I lost count. So, the rule for the pharmacy board, disclaimer, is that we should not be making edibles. However, what you do with your material, whether you throw it in the trash or whether you dump it down your stomach, I mean, no one can tell you what to do with your own body and your own personal property. But the pharmacy does not want you to make edibles yourself because it's kind of we talked about early on in the beginning of the meeting is that it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to gauge your dosing, but like I said, I love the idea that you just said, Mike. You said you just stuck it as a peanut butter, uh, and boom. I had another person tell me they stuck it in some ice cream because when you use your vaporized flour, it's already decarbonated, meaning it's ready for reuse. So I'm a huge recycling fan. I love to recycle. So I think recycling is a good thing for us to do. So hopefully, pharmacy will reconsider the whole rule of not making edibles because I think they're not realizing that people are stockpiled up with a bunch of decarbonated material, and it just for much as we pay for these things, it doesn't make any sense for us just to take an ounce of material and throw it in the trash when we could actually reuse it to medicate ourselves for a second time. So that's just
Agreed.
how I feel about it. So hopefully, pharmacy board, if you heard this, you're watching this, you'll realize, maybe you should reconsider. You told us we had to vaporize only, and then you didn't. You forgot to tell us. Well, what do we do with the leftovers? Just throw it
Right.
away. I mean, why do we do that? I mean, we can still reuse it. So
Some people don't know that you can save it, and there's an edible. Right? I've got ounces of edible material just like that.
yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of stuff we could do. So last thing I want to do is I'm going to switch over to the strain of the day, and let's see here.
Hey, Anthony, while you're doing that, quick
Go ahead.
question, last question here. Do you have any idea who Grant Miller's replacement is?
And that is a good question in the day, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah. So right now, I have not heard exactly who is taking his place. I know that there was another lady that I've worked with before. Her name is Angela Day. She's answered some of my messages. Again, pharmacy board, if you are listening or watching, please let us know who our new uh, contact person will be. because we will all like to know. Because I haven't heard anything yet, and like I said, I sent the messages to him about the meeting, and as of the meeting right now, and I'm double checking my email, I did not uh, I did not get any response back from them, so
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly
Okay.
what their thinking is. So for folks in the Zoom meeting, uh, you oh wait a minute, I forgot. You know what happens when you have too many screens in front of you at the same time. So let me bring you guys in on this screen here. Okay, so the strain of the day is Sunset Sherbet. Ha! Surprise! We was already talking about this. Um, Obviously, many of you already know who Woodward is and they're familiar with their products. So I picked this strain today and yesterday. So yeah, for those that watched yesterday, it was a strain of the day yesterday. This strain has it's an indica. It's very flavorful. As you can see, the buds. I love the colors in it. As you can see, lots of trichomes on it. But as far as the effects goes, this was a very good strain to help with mild to moderate pain for me. Has anyone else tried Sunset Server besides me?
Yes, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it is definitely tasty. So yeah, I definitely recommend those who haven't tried it or watching this next time they come out with another batch, because I don't think it's available right now. I haven't seen it in a while. Um, Definitely make sure you get some. It's not going to be the highest THC testing strain, but as far as the flavor and the effects and everything, I think it's very spot on to something that we definitely are glad to have in our program, and that's where I feel about it.
Yes.
So yeah, it's been fun talking with you guys on here, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap this meeting just about almost on the time I said I wanted to hold it to. I didn't want to hold people forever, but we will have another meeting next month. It'll just be whoever wants to get in it and do what we're doing now, we'll just be talking about whatever we want to talk about. We won't be focused in on all these issues. Well, we might be talking about that they put these things through or not. So don't forget, if you want to send the email to the pharmacy board, that information is on my website at ohiocannabislive.com. So you will be able to see that there on your screen there.
One
And
last quick shout out to a strain. I haven't met anyone else that tested this, but last summer Farkas Farms released banana pudding. It was only like 16% THC. I think that was one of the hardest, most potent strains I've ever tried in our Ohio's program. Like whatever that terpene profile was, I went back the next day and I bought an ounce of it. And that was like the first Ohio flower I ever bought a whole ounce of. It was that good. The banana pudding by Farkas Farms.
wow.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. I remember
tried
that. I
it?
might have a nug left actually. And that's
Me too.
old.
I've got 2 nugs left. I've been saving them because I'm like, I don't want it to go.
I thought I had an archive. You guys got way better archives than me, man. My archive ain't nothing. I'm still waiting on to bring back the UK cheese. Did anybody try that?
No, I didn't.
What was it?
UK cheese.
Oh no.
It was one of their first strains, and Farkas Bullseye Farms. If you're listening, we need UK cheese in banana. What was it? Banana
Pudding. Banana
I thought it was
pudding.
Banana Foster's, but Miss Banana Pudding.
Banana pudding for sure, Farkas.
Yeah. Bring it back because we're hungry for that.
Well, I have a quick shout out, and this is still going to be available. It might even still be available at some dispensaries. True OG, that's my go-to for pain and insomnia.
Which
oh my
grower?
gosh, fantastic!
Which grower are you talking about?
It's Woodward.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
True
Okay,
OG.
yes.
My gosh.
I never saw that. I missed that one. But one thing that was extremely awesome about the banana pudding, this was like last summer. It was only $28 for the 2.E3. That was like the first time I ever saw any flower under $40 in Ohio, I think. Like I was just blown away. It was that good for that cheap.
Oh,
yes.
You haven't been to Springfield then yet, because if you look on my screen right now, you see they got right now that was yesterday's deal, but Springfield and Dayton, Pure Ohio sells an ounce for unit for $18 like every day, literally.
Wow. But I mean,
Wow.
around this time last year was unheard of prices like that.
No, when they launched, they've been doing this since the very beginning.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, I always tell people that if you haven't done a Springfield or Dayton run to Pure Ohio, you should put it on your Rolodex of things to do, because when they bring out the gelatos and the Granddaddy Perk, it's gone quick.
Oh
Wow.
my
Nobody else
gosh.
has gelato. I mean, there is the Cresco, I think, just come out with a gelato 14 or something like that, but they have gelato and they have the Granddaddy Perk. And,
Woodward had Gelato 33 for a while. It was like a limited edition. Oh my gosh. Have a couple nugs of that left. That was phenomenal.
Wow, you have some of that. I thought my cabinet was something, man. You got me beat. If you still have Gelato 33, I mean, you got a museum over there.
I got
A little bit.
Koala Mint too. The Woodward Koala Mint limited edition. That was good.
Ooh, I didn't try that. Oh,
It was worth getting. I liked it. So
okay.
guys, I've never had a bad product with Woodward. Like literally,
Same.
they do it right.
Yeah, I can agree
Same.
with that. I can agree with that. Yeah, I mean, did anybody try that conjugal visit, the CV5 and 2?
No.
Not me.
Yeah, I haven't tried it either, so I don't know exactly how it did. I mean, I heard some feedback on it, but I don't know if it was necessarily great feedback. But to me, I looked it up and I was like, man, this is like something times bitch slap, and I'm like, well, I wonder if that's really gonna bitch slap me when I try it. But that's what it said, and I looked at the lineage on it, because at first I'm like, CV5, they made that up. But no, there is a conjugal visit lineage for it, and they said there was CV2 and CV5, and when I researched it, there was just one strain. I don't know if there's two different but there could have been a variation or a different seed or something weird like that. Maybe, I don't know. But it's interesting. But yeah, like I said, I think that if we can get these meetings going every month and pick a time that works for everybody, it doesn't have to necessarily be 420. I just like 420 because that would be easy for people to remember. But some people might be working or going back to work, and so we may have to do it later in the evening. I don't think early in the morning works because I'm not a morning person, and I'm gonna look like crap in the morning.
Yeah, this time worked out great, or later, to accommodate people who are going back to work or are working.
Absolutely. Yeah, so like I said, I definitely look forward to seeing both of you guys in the next meeting that we have next month, and that'll be in June. And like I said, hopefully more people will get into the Zoom, because I think it's funner. I see people that are watching. I'm monitoring the Facebook, and I see Sean is in here. I see Menelax in here, and I see Robert Jones in here on Facebook, or they were in here. They might be gone now. And like I said, I think this is a great way for us to connect and for us to talk about what strains are good, what strains are bad, and kind of like connect.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and start to close down this puppy and let everybody, start signing out of the Zoom. So I will see you guys later. I'm available all the time. You can just send me a message on the website or message me on Zoom or wherever. We got my phone number, whatever, you guys. Whatever way works best.
I'd like to have something where there are strains I'm looking for, like skunk number 1 or haze, but the state of Ohio won't let them advertise, like green crack. They won't let you advertise that